This is the island of Oahu in Hawaii, the land of aloha, a word which means hello, goodbye, and love. From Waikiki, there's a road which climbs steeply through the mountains until it reaches the Pali Pass, where it narrows. The Pali is often dangerous for lone drivers just because of the nature of the terrain. Occasionally, it's dangerous for more personal reasons. Take a look. Aloha is a word the meaning of which almost everyone knows and understands. But only those who are familiar with the language know the meaning of its opposite, ana. It means hate and violent death. This peaceful afternoon was about to be illustrated. I'd been following a woman, Mrs. Bert Evans, for an unusual reason. Her husband thought she was going to kill him. What I hadn't expected was that someone would try to kill her.
Is there a stronger word than thanks? I hope so, because that's what I'd like to say.
You know who they were?
No. But I know they would have killed me if you hadn't come along.
Well, I'm glad I did.
Mr. Evans. Could have let Markham in on his plan. He could have pulled his punches.
And I still don't like any part of it. If he doesn't trust her, why doesn't he divorce her?
How could anybody divorce a girl like that? Look, I'm his superintendent, but not his conscience. I get paid to grow pineapples, not answer personal questions. Oh, give me your mask. Ronnie, ditch these. Okay, that's what he wanted to know. She's taking Markham down to the beach house. Come on, let's get back to work.
Somewhere there lurked a profound lesson for me. Some people are accident-prone. I'm trouble-prone. I thought I was merely doing a favor for an old friend, but I wound up in a fairly rugged scrimmage on the Pali Pass. The whole thing obviously revolved around the girl in the car ahead of me. And it was her husband, my old friend, Bert Evans, who had tangled me in the strange affair. And it began only yesterday. I was spending a quiet vacation in a comfortable hotel, and I was looking forward to a leisurely and quiet lunch. But I'd unhappily agreed to meet an old school friend. That was the end of the quiet. He told me most of it on the phone. It had to do with his wife, and he expected me to do something about it. I intended to. I intended to do nothing whatever. One Mai Tai. Will you have one, Bert?
Yes, thanks.
Make it two.
Long time. You probably remember me as a man who comes to the point quick. Now, I can arrange for you to meet her so she won't know who you really are. And then you can find out.
I can't do it, Bert. I'm sorry. I'm even sorry to know it's got you.
I haven't slept in weeks. I can't eat. And then I heard that you were coming to Honolulu, and I figured that maybe you could... Look, well, if only I didn't love her.
Honestly, Bert, you haven't told me a thing that proves that you're right about her. You say she's young, beautiful. Well, maybe you're whistling September song. Maybe you're expecting too much from marriage.
Hardly. She's my third, you know.
I didn't know that. But it's been some time since we compared notes. They tell me you own quite a piece of these islands. What is it, sugar, pineapple, cattle?
Some of each. For the first 6 months, we got along fine. Then she changed, just like that. Too polite, too solicitous, too distant. There must be another man.
Oh, Bert, the world is full of other men.
But you've got to help me find this man.
There's an old proverb in Sanskrit yet. Never come between a man and the woman he's beating. She might turn out to be his wife.
What if I told you she was trying to kill me?
Is that what you are telling me? Do you think or do you know?
How could I know unless she killed me? Unless an old friend could prove that I was just a jealous husband who should be ashamed of his suspicions. But so many things have been happening lately, any one of which could be fatal.
But that doesn't prove that she...
Just a minute, Roy. If anything happens to me, she becomes the richest girl on the island. Oh, I want to believe in her, Roy. I want to love her with all the bars down. But if she is evil, don't you see?
It goes against my ethics to involve myself in anything as intimate as this. But for old time's sake, I'll go this far. I'll check as to whether there's any substance to your wife trying to kill you. With this exception. With regard to the marital and domestic aspects, that's your problem. Keeping you alive, that's mine. Is that clear?
When do you want to meet her?
I don't.
But how can you... Look, Roy, I'm leaving on the 6 o'clock plane tonight for San Francisco. I'll be gone a week. Now, you should be able to find something out in a week, shouldn't you?
Yes, I should. There are those Mai Tais. It seemed impossible that that could have happened only yesterday. And I was fairly certain that if it weren't for the sentimentalities of an almost forgotten friendship, Bert Evans' wife would be dead high up on the Pali. Those 3 masked men had been playing for keeps. That was part of the reason I followed Rita Evans home. The rest of it was just my built-in curiosity. The Evans Beach House was on Kaneohe Bay. It was set back off the road and was given to sky and water on one side, tropical gardens on the other. Yet in spite of its luxurious beauty, there was somehow an eerie quality about the whole setting. I felt it instantly, from the first moment I drove in. I already knew what Bert Evans thought. His wife was going to kill him. It had become essential for me to learn what his wife thought, which was why I persuaded her to invite me in for a drink.
I really shouldn't have asked you here. My husband's away and our servants at our place in Honolulu, but... Well, I'm...
Scared stiff. And with some justification, Mrs. Evans. When do we call the police?
We don't. What happened is well, it's a personal affair.
crime usually is.
I guess there's some things I'd better tell you. Why is it we always find it easiest to confide our most intimate secrets to complete strangers?
To secrets.
But not to strangers. What do I call you?
Roy?
Roy. And Rita.
Sounds like a dance team.
We might try it later. Are you married, Roy?
And I'm a firm believer in the truism that the last thing man will civilize is woman. I'm waiting for the day.
Or the woman?
Best one's already taken.
Would you like to take a walk?
I'd love it. The Evans estate was very large and a lovely place to take a walk. We walked for a long time in total silence. I began to think that most of my ideas about Bert's problem were at the very least questionable. At the edge of the estate, we found a bench, and at last Rita did talk.
You think I'm strange, don't you?
Strange? No, I think you're lovely, warm, a little sad maybe, preoccupied.
Because I said what happened up there on the cliff was personal.
Well, let's put it this way. 3 questions, 3 answers. Have I wondered why you wouldn't let me call the police? Yes, I have wondered. Have I asked myself, did you know these men up there, or any one of them? Yes, I have asked myself that. And have I concluded that you were pretending you didn't know who was responsible? I have concluded exactly that.
I told you there were some things that I wanted to tell you.
Such as who was trying to kill you?
Yes.
What does your husband think? Have you told him what's been happening?
No.
Then that's the 4th question.
No, that's the answer to all 4 questions. He hired those men.
He did? But how do you know that?
He wants me dead.
Why would any man want to get rid of you?
We all have one face that we show to the world. And then another one, sometimes dark and terrible, that we only show to a few people. I know what kind of a man Bert Evans really is. His other wives found out too, but too late for them.
You make him sound like a Bluebeard.
Yes, he is. You don't believe me, do you? All right, I'll prove it to you. There's a room. I'll show you. He always keeps it locked.
Well, that doesn't prove anything. You ever been inside?
Oh, no, he'll never let me. He gets furious when I ask.
Well, we all have skeletons in our closets. Your husband just happens to have a bigger closet than most men.
Or more skeletons.
I think we better be getting back to Honolulu.
How long have you been in Hawaii?
Oh, a long time. Day before yesterday. Vacation.
Then you've never heard the word ana ana? It means death and hate. We have natives known as kahuna ana ana. Some people believe that they can pray a person to death.
Local voodoo, huh?
Don't laugh at it. I don't. My husband has brought kahunas into that room. They've stayed in there hours at a time, and each time I felt weaker, more desperate, as though something is going to crush me.
When did he do this?
He's been doing it for the past few weeks. And the last time was yesterday.
Any windows in there?
No, but there's a skylight.
I'm going to take a look. You take it easy.
Come with me.
The extra glass and the mysterious cigarette, which neither Rita nor myself had lighted, had to mean something. It wasn't hard to find a way to the roof. The locked door, and more important, the room behind it, had to have some connection with these impossible events. When I looked into the mysterious room, I was horrified, but not very surprised. The ancient object below was an altar, a pagan altar for human sacrifice. Rita remained in the house after we'd searched it, room by room. Then I covered the grounds, tree by tree. Nothing anywhere. No sign of Evans or any of his men. No sign of anyone. But there had to be a rational explanation.
Roy!
Rita's terror was becoming almost hysterical. Rita was close to shock, and I had to do something quickly. There was one fact I had to know. Mr. Landers, this is Roy Markham. I wanted to find out if Bert Evans left a couple of hours ago on your 6 o'clock flight to the mainland. I must find out if he's aboard. Could you radio the plane and check the hostess manifest? No, I'm nowhere where you can call me, but I can call you back in a few minutes. Thank you.
He's not on that plane. I know it. Are you frightened?
Of your husband? No, not frightened. Puzzled.
Well, there's nothing to be puzzled about.
Maybe there is. Maybe much more than you realize. Hey, now, take it easy.
I'm afraid I'm not very courageous.
You're trembling.
I could say because I'm close to you.
But neither of us would believe that now, would we?
Why not?
You're trembling because you're expecting your husband to break in here any second. Like something out of a Victorian novel.
I know Bert. You don't.
If he'd planned that, why the tip-off? Why that glass?
It's just like him. The cat and the mouse. He delights in torturing me. Have you still got the gun?
Yes, I still have it.
Bert is perfectly capable of killing both of us if he found us like this. It would give him all of the excuse he needs. Then he'd have my money, too. I didn't tell you that, did I? Poor little rich girl, that's me.
But I thought that...
That Bert had all the money?
Yeah.
No. Oh, he has enough, thanks to his other 2 wives. One left him land and the other money. But when my dad died, he left me enough money to buy and sell Bert Evans. I guess that's why he married me.
Look, I've got to ask you some questions. I can't tell you why, but there are 1 or 2 things I must know. Now, you've intimated that your husband had something to do with the death of his 2 previous wives.
Yes, the first one drowned in a sailing accident. No witnesses. And the second one died right here in this house.
How?
She was asleep, and her heart simply stopped beating.
That a lot of people die in their sleep, it's quite common.
But Bert was in that locked room with a kahuna anana.
All right. Now, aside from the incident on the Pali this afternoon, has he ever done anything to put you in jeopardy?
Only tried to feed me to the sharks, that's all. We were skin diving outside the reef. Bert led me to a place where the coral is very sharp. Then he bumped hard against me. Intentionally, I know. I cut my leg on the coral. Started to bleed. 2 sharks came. Tigers. Biggest things I ever saw. But Bert had disappeared. I hid in a coral cave until the air in my tanks was almost gone.
Why do you stay with him?
Bert is the first man that I ever loved. or ever let love me. That may sound old-fashioned to you, but it can be a strong hold on some women, believe me. I wish it weren't.
Mr. Landers, Roy Markham. Thank you. He left the plane just before takeoff.
We'd better leave.
No. Sit down.
Why did you do that?
If he's waiting outside, it's the sort of thing you'd be expecting. It'll bring him in.
Can you use that gun?
Well enough to prefer not to. Get out of sight.
He went into the room with a kahuna ana.
Skylight.
Trusted you, Steve. All the women in the world, why her?
Go ahead and shoot.
Bert, the gun.
No.
He's the reason you left the plane, isn't he?
Said emergency.
You drugged him. Brought him here, shot at me, counting on my shooting back, doing your killing for you.
For us.
That business on the Pali, that was your idea, wasn't it, Bert?
Well, how else could you know the truth unless I brought you face to face with it?
And this place?
Her hobby. Black magic. She was a pagan, Roy. She deceived me. I can't help but wish her alive again. Alive and lovely.
In this macabre room, filled with pagan relics, the dead girl seemed curiously to belong. It had been 100 years since Hawaiian kings had placed a sacrificial victim on a sacred altar to appease the gods. The gods had waited a long time for Rita Evans.